Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage U.S. Senator Steve Daines.
Ain't America beautiful? This place that we call home. Give us your tired, your poor, your yearning to be free forevermore. Ain't America beautiful? Ain't America beautiful? Hey, I've got some good news, everybody. I was just in touch with President Trump's team. He is en route right now to the field house. But you know, I'm a lifelong Bozeman kid. I went to kindergarten through college here. In fact, I walked across this stage once upon a time as a proud MSU Bobcat. But tonight, I want to welcome you to Jon Tester's retirement party. Now, there's been a lot of polls conducted. Anybody here been contacted by a pollster? Let's take a poll here tonight. We've got some decibel meters that can measure applause. So let me ask you a question. You can respond to this poll by your applause. If the election were held tonight, how many of you would vote for Donald J. Trump for president? USA. That's just good for the soul, isn't it? Get that out of here, you bet. And I got to tell you something. I don't know about you. I'm sick and tired of seeing men competing against women in sports. Well, let me in on a little secret. Out here in Montana, we know the difference between a bull and a cow, don't we? We are 88 days from the most consequential election in your lifetime and mine. It is time to elect Donald Trump as President of the United States. It is time to fire Chuck Schumer. And we do that, by the way, when we send Tim Sheehy back to the United States Senate. Now, I got a trivia question for you here tonight. You may not be aware of this, but I've served in the United States Senate thanks to your support since 2015. And I was the first Republican elected to this U.S. Senate seat in 100 years in Montana, by the way. We did that. But here's a question. Who recruited Kamala Harris to run for the United States Senate in California back in 2016? The answer is Jon Tester. Let me allow you to see another little inside baseball fact in Washington. You know, when we have a tie vote in the U.S. Senate, who comes down to break that tie? The Vice President of the United States comes down and casts the tie-breaking vote. Do you realize out of 47 vice presidents in this nation's history, Kamala Harris has now broken more ties than any other vice president in our nation's history? She just surpassed John Calhoun and John Adams. They both served 8-year terms, and she got her done in 3.5 years. But let me tell you something about that. In every one of those 33 tie-breaking votes, which were very consequential, John Tester supported Kamala Harris in all 33, and Steve Daines opposed her in the other 33. What are some of those votes? What are some of those votes? If you want to add up the bar tab of crazy spending in Washington, we had 2 tie-breaking votes. One was that crazy $1.9 trillion stimulus package when there was already $1 trillion of unspent COVID money on the sidelines. They jammed that through, and John Tester and Kamala Harris voted for it. Steve Daines voted against it. And that, we warned the left about this. That was an ignite inflation. And guess what? It did. And right here in Montana, sadly, the most expensive vehicle that many Montanans drive right now is their grocery cart. And let me tell you something. If you like San Francisco politics, you're going to love Kamala Harris. She is right out of central casting out of San Francisco. And we aren't going to let that happen, are we? Not on our watch. They're trying to cover up Kamala Harris's past statements, her votes. She said she wants to ban fracking. Let me tell you something. President Trump and Tim Sheehy, they're going to drill, baby, drill. How about the Second Amendment? Who in this house tonight cares about their Second Amendment rights? Well, let me tell you something. The NRA has given John Tester an F, and that does not stand for fantastic, I can tell you that. Contrast that to Tim Sheehy, who the NRA has given an A rating and will protect yours and mine Second Amendment rights. Kamala Harris wants John Tester's vote to decriminalize border crossing, and if you can believe this, to abolish ICE. Let me tell you something. We've got an alternative, because Tim Sheehy and President Trump are going to secure the border, and we're going to build the wall. Let me explain a couple other things here from Washington, D.C. John Tester voted for every single one of Joe Biden's liberal judicial nominees. Let me tell you why that's a huge problem. When you vote in the U.S. Senate for a federal judge, that is a lifetime appointment. We now have 6 grandchildren. You think a lot about your grandkids on these terrible liberal judges that are being put on the bench today because of John Tester, Kamala Harris and Joe Biden. I will tell you something. President Trump and Tim Sheehy, they're going to put judges on the bench that will defend our precious Constitution. Now, I'm going to share another fact that's not being talked a lot in Jon Tester's commercials. Jon Tester voted to impeach President Trump twice. Well, let me give you some good news. Tim Sheehy's got President Trump's back. So here's what it comes down to. The nation is watching Montana. They are counting on us 88 days away in this most consequential election. If we are going to take this country back, we must elect President Trump, and we must elect Tim Sheehy to support President Trump back in Washington. This is the fight I'm focused on. Let me tell you something tonight. I've been working close with President Trump for a long time. He's a dear friend of mine. We stay in close contact. And I can tell you, we're very thankful tonight that of all the places President Trump could be, he's going to be with us here in Montana. Now, some of you might know I'm also good friends with his son, Donald Trump Jr. That guy knows how to shoot, by the way. He knows how to fish, by the way. And I'm sure we'll get Don Jr. out here to Montana before this election. But here's the bottom line. It's not that complicated. We need 2 Senate seats to win back majority control and to fire Chuck Schumer, okay? We need 2. Now, I've got some good news tonight, is we have won West Virginia. Joe Manchin retired. We've got Governor Jim Justice and Baby Dog running in West Virginia, and he is going to be the next U.S. Senator from West Virginia. The Democrats have surrendered on that seat, so there's one for the good guys. But guess where we go next? Right here in Montana. When we elect Tim Sheehy, we have won back majority control of the United States Senate. So this is going to be about votes and getting everybody here in Montana out to vote. You heard the president earlier mention we got to swamp the vote. Vote, we got to get out and get our people to vote. This for all the marbles, it's right here in Montana. Because working together, we will send Donald J. Trump back to the White House. We will send Kamala Harris and Chuck Schumer packing. We're going to send Tim Sheehy to the United States Senate, and we're going to make America great again. God bless you.